So today we are going to be honing in on one of my favorite drummers, and I know a lot of you out there will be inspired by this amazing drummer as well, Mr. Chris Coleman. And what I want to do here also is give you an example of something that I like to do from time to time when I see any of these performance-based videos of my favorite drummers online, whether they're playing along to a track or playing a drum solo. I'll usually just sit back and enjoy it the first few times. That might be over a couple of days or whatever, and I'll just be in awe of what these humans are physically doing. It's incredible. And then what I'll do is I'll usually get a pen and paper or a pencil and paper, and I'll sit down and I'll pick out the one section that really stood out to me in my mind first, and I'll let that try and inspire me a little bit and come up with a few different exercises around what I've just heard, and this would be a perfect example of that. So I want to hone in on a little clip of Chris playing here from a recent track that was uploaded here to YouTube recently, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about these exercises a little more. So without further ado, let's enjoy Chris. So when I first heard this initially, one thing really stood out to me, and that's Chris's ability to pretty much put his right foot, so those bass drum notes, anywhere he wanted within the bar line, whilst keeping a quarter note pulse with his right hand over here on the hi-hats. And it almost created a slightly uncomfortable feeling whilst being perfectly in time. And I know Gaz Rodriguez would have been a big influence here, because I do know they co-wrote this. I mean, I was pretty aware of that when I first heard it. I know they've worked together in the past. But you can hear the bass guitar and the electric guitar and bass drum are pretty much in sync throughout that entire section, and I think it creates a really cool effect. So I've got two exercises for you here. The first one is a warm-up, and the second one is a 4-bar groove. So let me first give you an example of what the 4-bar groove sounds like at full tempo, and then we'll come back and we'll take a look at this warm-up. Here we go. So let's begin with the warm-up. This warm-up is also a 4-bar exercise and requires you to hold down a quarter note pulse both with your right and left foot. And then over the top of that, you're going to be playing the main rhythm, and both your right and left hand are going to be in unison playing that main rhythm. Now, pay attention to what I'm doing here with dynamics, guys. This is something that Chris is really good at as well, and I always think that if you can work in dynamics to an exercise, why the hell not? You're playing the exercise anyway, so try to play it at various different velocities. I'd actually prefer if you all tried to play this and get the hang of playing it super soft and really hone in on where those notes are placed during this exercise. So I'm going to give you an example of how it sounds at a goal tempo of 135. Then I'll bring it right down to 85, and then you can slowly work your way back up to our goal tempo at 135. I'll keep the notation also on screen as always, and then we'll move on to the main exercise. Enjoy. Okay, so once you're comfortable playing that at 135, you can then move on to the groove portion of this video lesson. And I do want to note Chris's right arm here, when he's grooving along, his right arm is coming really high up there. If you need to go back and look at the little clip I showed you, please do and pay attention to that. It really is coming up quite far. And what that does from my perspective is it gives the groove, the hi-hats, just a really nice sound, a nice tight sound, and it also just gives the groove a really nice feel. This is something that you'll hear when you go to do it. It's just something you have to do to really get the feel of and to really hear what I'm talking about, but it's important to mention that because it is a big part of this groove, I think. So a couple of things before we go any further, and I forget, if you are new to this channel, make sure you do go ahead, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you are notified every time I do upload a fresh lesson to this channel. Also, if you are a member of my Patreon, I'll drop a link in the description below. You will have access to all the PDF files for this lesson and all of my lessons. So make sure you go ahead and do that if you wish. So without further ado, let's get on with this groove. I'm going to again give you an example of its goal tempo, 135, and then I'm going to bring this right down to give you a real good chance of internalizing this groove. I'll do it nice and slow at 65, work it back up to 85, and then back up to our goal tempo at 135 beats per minute. Hope you're all having a wonderful day and you do have a lot of fun with this lesson and it inspires you as much as Chris has always inspired me. All have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you back here on the channel very soon for more lesson content. Take care.